I tell all of my clients to always, always, always make sure they have in writing before they leave their doctor's office work restrictions that the doctor has placed on the page, and not only to have it in their hand, but to look at it before they leave to make sure it makes sense. If you've just had surgery 6 weeks ago and your doctor is telling you to go back to work and lift up to 100 pounds and you've just put your shoulder back together or your back had just had surgery, that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, and you need to discuss that with your doctor. So the first thing is that you get work restrictions in writing and you make sure it makes sense based upon what your job is and what your issues are related to your injury. If your doctor puts on the paper that you have certain work restrictions and you feel like, okay, those are reasonable, and then you go back to your job, you always want to keep a copy of those work restrictions. If I'm your lawyer, I want you to send me a copy, and then you give a copy to your employer. When you should return to work, or if you should return to work, are separate questions, and that's something you will need to talk with me about. But let's say you are released to return back to work, and you are supposed to return back to work, and you report back to work, and the paperwork says you are not to lift over 10 pounds, and you should not be standing any more than 2 hours a day. And your employer says, okay, you need to go work in the warehouse, or you need to go drive that truck, or you need to go lift those files, whatever the case may be, and you know they're over 10 pounds, or the requirement is that you're going to have to be on your feet over 2 hours a day, or whatever is particular to you. You need to go right to your supervisor at that point and say, hey, my doctor wrote it on the paper. I gave you guys a copy of it. It says I can't lift over 10 pounds or whatever it says. I can't stand for more than 2 hours, whatever the details are, and you're asking me to do that. The employer is going to do one of two things at that point in time. They're either going to say, oh, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Please don't do that. Here, just sit in this chair or just comply. Let me comply with those restrictions and give you a job that's proper. With that, you do it and you try it. And the alternative, the employer is going to say, I really don't care what the doctor has to say. You need to get this job done or I'm going to fire you. At that point, if I'm your attorney, you're going to need to call me. And I'm going to then call the insurance company or their attorney and let them know that the employer is failing to provide you with a proper job and that they need to reinstate your TTD benefits and you need to go home because they clearly do not have a job that is proper and within the doctor's restrictions. Every situation is different and those specific details will have to be conveyed to me so that we can counsel you properly. Hi, this is Jodi, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube or a like on Facebook. I also encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link to do so is on the screen. I also invite you to call me directly if you have been injured on the job and need an honest and realistic opinion regarding your case or details regarding the law. I can be reached at 770-351-0801 or email me at jodiginsberglaw@gmail.com.